The Secrets of Technology is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give. You're listening to The Secrets of Technology. Hi, I'm Dom Bettinellì, and you're listening to The Secrets of Technology, where we discuss the technology news that's important to you from a uniquely Catholic point of view. And joining me today on the panel are Joanne Mercier. Hey, Joanne.
Hey, Dom.
And Father Cory Sticha. Hey, Father Cory.
How's it going?
Folks, I'm going to tell you about another show on the StarQuest Network you're sure to enjoy. And if you're a listener of Secrets of Technology, I'm sure you're going to enjoy Let's Science. It is a great short science podcast. You can check that out wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/science. And bonus, there's wonderful Australian accents from the hosts. So yeah, that's a lot of fun to listen to. All right. So as we record this, we've just passed and as you're getting this, we've just passed the Feast of St. Nicholas. I know it's Advent, but, we could kind of almost start saying Merry Christmas to people, in the stores,
Yes.
I'm not a rigorist when it comes to celebrating Christmas. I want to celebrate Christmas 4 months out of the year, frankly. I've got snow on the ground outside for the first time of this year. I'm feeling very Christmassy. And so we're continuing our Christmas gift guide.
Yay. Mind you, here it's 60. It was 60 degrees yesterday. So
Get out.
Up in Montana, you should have like 3 feet of snow by December.
I know.
Right?
So the atmospheric river's coming for you, Father Cory. And,
yeah.
So anyway, we're talking about more Christmas gift ideas for the techies in your life, or that you can ask for yourself from the other people in your life to give you for Christmas. And so this week our theme is a bit of a stocking stuffer gift guide. And these are smaller. They can literally fit in a stocking, perhaps, and sometimes less expensive, sometimes not. But sometimes expensive things come in small packages. And so I want to start us off by asking Joanne to share with us some of her gift ideas for stocking stuffers.
Okay. Well, 2 out of the 3 can fit into a stocking. The third one, you have to take it out of the box.
Okay.
But it still qualifies as a stocking stuffer. Okay. My first suggestion is, all those lovely Apple devices you have that are really slippery.
Yes.
Yeah, I hate it. I mean, I have dropped iPod cases and remote controls and iPhones if I don't put them in a case. Now, I know putting an iPhone in a case is heresy, but still.
You're just holding it wrong.
You're just holding it wrong. Of course you are. But the other devices really need some sort of protective. So I've been very happy with silicone cases that I've gotten for my products. The first one is by Finty, and Finty they make a whole bunch of really low priced, but really, worthy covers for a lot of the Apple products. And this is the Finty protective case for the Apple TV Siri remote, the newest one. Okay, the nice silver one with the wheel and everything. It's like anywhere between $7 and $10. But what it does is when you're especially throwing the remote across the room to your mate, it's not going out the window or to the dog. But they're really nice, rubbery honeycomb, and it goes on quick. It can come off quick if you want it, but you're able to find it. They also have it in colors that glow in the dark. We do have one of those in the bedroom, so that in the middle of the night, we can actually find it when it's rolling around the bed somewhere, and it's like, that's the remote. So, and they're, again, very inexpensive, and they're great companions for your devices. The second thing that I came across, I don't own it, but I know people who do, is the Apple MagSafe Duo, the wireless charge, both for the phone and the watch. You can also use it for the iPods, but it's the compact. It looks like a woman's compact when you put it together. And it's great for traveling. I wish I would have gotten one before I bought all my others. But it's $99 right now. However, you can only find it on Amazon. I cannot find it in the Apple Store, which is why I gave the link to Amazon. So I don't know if they're phasing it out. And if they are, quick run, don't walk. It's a good price for these two. You know, it almost, when you opens it, you've got the big circle and the little circle. And the little circle does pop up for the watch, or you can leave it down for the iPods, for the iPod case. And that's $99. Of course, it's an Apple product. You're going to pay for it. Okay. Right. And my third and final is what I'm using right now, which Dom put me wise to when I was looking for a new USB audio interface, the Focusrite Scarlett Solo, 3rd generation. And it's not just for podcasting. If you're a musician and want to MIDI your device, your keyboard or your guitars, whatever, into it to use for a GarageBand or Audition or whatever. This is a great little device to have. It doesn't do much like my UA25 used to do, but it does enough to, and is newer, so that there's things to you can play with the different frequency enough so that you get what you need. It's a good price at $89.99, and yes, you have to take that one out of the box
to get it in the stocking.
To put it in the stock, but it does fit in the stocking. So these were things that I wanted to pick that would fit into a stocking. So people, and when you put them under a tree and they're small, they get lost.
Yeah.
Or the dog or the cat finds them. So,
especially if you get a big family of kids who are all like tearing into the paper and the paper's everywhere. Yeah. So I want to mention a little bit. So the third one. Let's start with the third one. The Focusrite Scarlett USB audio interface. And so what this does is this particular model has one XLR interface. XLR is that cable that it's got the 3 prongs, mostly used for microphones, but can be used for other, like as you mentioned, other types of devices, keyboards and guitars and that sort of thing. And it's a way of getting audio into your computer over USB from a professional quality device. And people will say, oh, why do I need that? I could just get a USB microphone. And you can, and for a lot of people that may work fine, but USB audio is can be a little flaky. Like USB audio microphones can be a little flaky.
As we found out.
Yeah, right. And so, if you want something a little more high quality, a little more reliable, this would work. And it's got you could plug headphones in so you can monitor your audio. You can adjust the gain on it. So it gives you a little more control. So I always recommend that if you go into the next level of audio on your computer, that might be the thing you want to look at. They also have a duo. So if you ever have 2 people or 2 devices, like a microphone and a guitar or a keyboard, you could do that as well. And as far as the protective cases, I agree on that. I have a silicone case on my both of the Apple remotes, my old one and my new one. They both work with the new Apple TV. The old remotes will still work. And I liked it. It's got the one thing I like is the one I have has a lanyard, so I can put the lanyard around my wrist and while I'm sitting there and not hold it. See, what happens is, I'll tell you, if you hold the remote in your hand, you're going to accidentally hit a button.
Of course.
Yep.
And
never fails.
And everyone who's watching TV with you is going to go, what are you doing? So I usually let it dangle from the lanyard around my wrist. But.
Yeah, the Finti do not have lanyards. I can tell you that. But the one I forgot to do was the one for the iPod case, the iPod Pro 2.
AirPod.
AirPods.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh.
Those pods.
I know. Everything's a pod. Yes. The Ornato compatible silicone case for AirPods Pro 2nd generation. That has a lanyard.
Yeah.
And that I find helpful when I walk the dog.
And having a silicone case for those, like you talk about how slick they are.
They are slippery.
AirPod cases are way too slippery. Yeah.
My husband keeps dropping his, and I keep saying, that's it, Christmas present.
Yeah. These silicone cases are really nice. And, we have multiple, my wife has AirPods, I have AirPods, and these cases all look alike. I think you can get them in, the monogram, but that's really small. Just get different colors, and that's my case. And mine isn't the pink case. That's your case. Mine is the black or green or blue or whatever. The blue case is really nice looking, and they're cheap. It's $13, and there's a coupon on Amazon right now, so it's even less.
Oh, good. All right.
So good. Those are some good stocking stuffers, and give you some ideas, folks. And there are other kinds of like cases and stuff on there, but that would be a nice one. So, Father Cory, what do you get for some stocking stuffers?
So I knew there was going to be a lot of Apple stuff in this because the company I'm keeping, this reputable company I'm keeping. So I had to throw some Google love in here. Of course, I am in the Android Google world, so I use things. And my first pick is the Chromecast with Google TV. So Chromecast, of course, is Google's over-the-air streaming service, however you want to put it, where you can stream from your phone or your tablet or what have you. Well, this is the Chromecast Puck, but it also has the Google TV built in. So this is really the equivalent of an Apple TV is what this is. So it does do the Chromecast where you can sit at your laptop and do that, or your phone, but it also has the on-screen display where the menus, and you can have the apps on the device and everything. And it works very similar to an Apple TV where you've got the list of the different apps and the different shows, continuing to watch and stuff like that. I've got one that I've been using for about a year or so, a 4K version. And it's great, because if you don't have the app, if it doesn't have a Google TV app, because a lot of streaming sites don't, because then you can use the Chromecast feature. And if the app, if you're on Android, here's a pitch for Android. If your streaming app doesn't have Chromecast built in, you can just Chromecast the entire phone, audio and video. Okay. So you can just say cast the phone, and everything that's on the phone goes to the display.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So that I've done that where I've watched something online, and it's like, okay, well, I can't send the Chrome, I can't send direct from the app. Just cast this phone, done. It shows up on my Google TV.
So if I understand correctly, there are some apps on the Chromecast that built in because Google TV, but
you can add more. You can add more.
But if there isn't a Google TV app for the service, but there's a app for it that's on your Android phone, you can cast it from your phone to the Chromecast. Yeah. And if it's only available in a web browser, you can just cast the browser.
Yep. Or the app if they didn't build in the Chromecast support into the app.
Okay, that's cool. That's really handy, and it's $30 for the 1080p and was it $50 for the 4K?
Yeah, so it's fairly cheap. It's not expensive. It's a little puck. I mean, it's smaller than a hockey puck.
Yeah,
and it literally just plugs right into the US or the HDMI port on your phone. The remote, it's got a remote. Same problem with the Apple ones; they're slippery. I've dropped mine way too many to count, but I did see that Finty also makes sleeves for this, so I might have to get one.
Oh, nice.
Get a case for this as well, because I keep dropping mine, and fortunately the only thing that happens is the battery cover pops off and I just have to plug it back in. I haven't broken anything yet, but it sure tries. I really enjoy it. The Google Assistant works on it as well. You can hold down a button on the remote and speak into it, and it does the Google Assistant, so that's really nice. That's my first one, is giving Google a little bit of love.
Nice.
Next one, I'm actually preempting Dom because I kind of stole an idea from him. My second one is the Sony DualShock 4 controller, and the reason why I picked this is it works great with Steam on PCs, where you can have it either wirelessly through Bluetooth or plugged in through USB on your PC. And you can play Steam games. So any Steam game that supports controllers will work with this one. I believe Xbox does as well, but I've got a DualShock 4 and it works great. It's got the rumble feature, like when you're playing American Truck Simulator and you hit the rumble strips, it sits there and rumbles. It's got the analog and digital joysticks and the whole works. It's great. It's $60. It's very much worth picking one up or a couple if you're doing Steam games. Of course, you can do a couple. You can have multiplayer on the same screen and stuff like that. I believe will work with the Steam Deck as well if you want to do remote play.
Yeah.
What I mean by remote play is, the Steam Deck is plugged into the TV and you're using the the dual shock instead of the actual on device controls.
Yep. Yeah.
And then the third one is, going to cars, of course, as someone who drives a lot, having good charging capability in your car is a good thing. And this is one I just found that I probably will be ordering here soon if someone doesn't decide to give me a Christmas gift of this one. No, it's the Anker USB-C car charger, 67 watts, 3-port fast charger. It's got 2 USB-C and 1 USB-A. And if you plug in anything into just one of the USB-C controllers, it'll give you the full 67 watts. You can charge MacBook Pros off of this and use the MacBook Pros as you're charging while you're in the car. Now, obviously not while you're driving, but the fact that you could have this in your car and charging is, charge up your laptop. But obviously you could have a couple of devices, you could have your phone and, something else charging. Now, depending on how you use the plugs, will depend how much power you get. If you have all 3 filled, it does say you only get like 30 watts total because of heat issues.
Right.
That's a lot of power you're pulling through this device. But if you only got, like, what does it say? If you've got the USB-C and the USB-A, you'll get the full 67 watts split between the two and stuff like that. So this is something that if you've got, like I said, you've got a phone, maybe you've got still got an old school GPS, or you've got a laptop and a phone that you want to use, this will do it fantastic. Actually, your phone and maybe your smartwatch, your Apple Watch or something like that, you could be charging in the car as you're driving. So I will be getting one of these because this is almost essential for road trips.
I just dropped it in my cart as well.
I have the older version of this. It's a 2-port USB-C and USB-A, I think it is. That's only, I think, 40 watts.
Okay.
But this is great. Yep. I mean, if you have, a spouse that you drive with regularly and maybe kids, you need ports. I have several of these in my van so that I can, the kids can charge in the back of the van and, we can charge up front. And these are great.
It's also good for road trips because your phone wears out. Your battery wears out a lot quicker when you're trying to use its GPS.
Exactly. So you got the display on, you got the GPS going.
Yep. Playing the tunes,
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. Those are some good stocking stuffer picks there, Father Cory. So excellent. So Father Cory mentioned that he got a step on me on the controller because one of my ideas for a stocking stuffer is for the Switch, the Nintendo Switch, a wireless Switch controller. So it's this one is, I think it's in the standard Xbox configuration, if I'm correct.
Looks like it.
And it's a $30 controller, and that we got for. So what happened is my kids and I have discovered Mario Kart. And so the Switch comes with the 2 controllers that are built in, the Joy-Cons, but we want to play with 4, so we ended up picking up a couple more controllers, and this is a side pick. Everyone knows about Mario Kart and how fun it is, and it's been a blast, and it's so fun watching them. And we just actually picked up Super Smash Bros. And
oh no,
yeah, we call it Smash Bros. And it's a lot of fun to watch them play cooperatively. And so having these extra controllers, I'm late to the game. Everybody who games knows. But this particular one I'm going to put in here is a off-brand. It's one of those brands on Amazon where they decided to put a whole bunch of letters together randomly to make it the brand name. So it's nothing special, but it works, and that's what's best about it. Yep.
Now, don't laugh at me.
Okay.
But I bought one of these when I was using OBS to run the cameras in one of the churches during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not a bad thing when you're trying to smoothly move your camera back and forth rather than taking your mouse and going chick, 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 chick. So these controllers can also be used in that way. You got to play with them.
Yeah.
But you can use them.
Both the Sony and these will do that. Will do that as well. That's good point. I never even thought about that.
Don't use them to pilot submarines, though. Sorry.
No. Too soon.
Sorry. Just came to mind. Actually, it actually is the U.S. Navy's the helmsman on their newest submarines, the controllers are basically, heavily modified Xbox controllers to pilot the submarines because, they're not off the shelf. They build them and they cost like $1 million each or something. But the sailors who are coming in at this age, that's what they know. They know how to use these controllers.
Well, and they don't need the big, wheel that you crank down and pull back like you see in Hunt for Red October. You know?
Yeah. These days, it's all digital. So the next one is my next stocking stuffer idea is a little more expensive, but it's definitely something that will fit in a stocking. And it's if you spend any time outdoors, especially this time of year, it's very useful often, even indoors, to have a light that you don't have to hold in your hands, a flashlight of one kind or another. And this one is, I picked this up. There's this company called Olight, and they make all kinds of flashlights. All kinds of, amazing lights, and of all different ranges, and some very expensive ones that are really high powered. But this one I found is really nice. It's the Perrin 2 headlamp, and it comes with a headband and a flashlight that's sort of in an L configuration. So what I mean is, it's the type of flashlight where you hold it in your hand upright, and then the light shines out perpendicular to the direction that you're holding it, and it slides into this rubber bracket, you could say, on the front of the headband, and then points forward, and you can tilt it up and down. You can swivel it in its bracket, but it's a great flashlight, very bright, and the nice thing is it's rechargeable with a magnetic charger that it goes on, that you get, comes with it, goes on the back. And so I just leave it on my desk, and every once in a while when I come back from camping or whatever, I just toss it on there and recharge it, and it works great. It is fantastic, and they put some thought into this. Like, it's got a sensor built in where it will turn it off if it gets too hot, or if something gets too close to the lamp. So that if it's going to overheat or burn, that sort of thing, it lowers the brightness and eventually powers it off. So it's a really nice, and you could use it because it comes out of the bracket. You could use it just like a regular right angle power flashlight. It's a very nice. I have several different Olight flashlights, and any of those would be great stocking stuffers.
I need this for the Easter Vigil.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I need this for the Easter Vigil.
You need it for
look pretty weird to see a priest with a
headlamp
flashlight.
That's why an MC sometimes a little bit better, but still, I have to carry a flashlight for the vigil just to see people sometimes. So
I have an Olight flashlight in my pocket all the time, and I have a tiny one. There's a little tiny one that's a couple inches that I keep in a little EDC case, everyday carry case, just to have. They have ones you can put on your key ring. They have ones you can go you can clip into a pocket. As another one that you can do in case you need something like that. So one of those might be useful too. And then the last one, well, this is just, I saw this and I said, this is the one I have to put on my list. This is the cutest thing. It's the Biddy Boomers Star Wars Grogu with Santa hat mini Bluetooth speaker. It is adorable. This thing is going to be under my tree. So it's a Bluetooth speaker, just like anything else, 2 inches tall, and it looks like Grogu with a Santa hat. I mean, what else do I need to say? And then it also has like a strap, so you could like secure it to like a backpack or a bag. This would be great for kids. Or I saw it in one where they were hanging it in the Christmas tree, so it could be an ornament. And then you could play like carols through it and stuff like that. Wow. At Christmas. So it's $12. It's like, I mean, I don't imagine that it has the greatest sound quality ever, but it's cute.
it's 2.6 inches, which, if you think of it, 3.5-inch floppy, for those of you who remember those,
the same
this
disc.
Is smaller than that.
Yeah. It's smaller than a floppy. Yep. It's a floppy disk is for those who are too young, is the save icon in Microsoft Word.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
But no, that's cool. I actually like the idea of putting it in the tree, hanging it from the tree as a decoration, because it looks like a Christmas decoration. Mm-hmm. But then, set up, if you've got an old iPod Touch or something like that, you could set that up and just let it sit and play Christmas.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. They have other ones too. They have like not like non-Christmas Grogu and other Star Wars figures and all kinds of other like Marvel figures and that sort of stuff. There's a whole range of these bitty boomers out there, so you could see them. But I saw the Christmas one. I thought that was so adorable. So
I'll put it in my cart for a friend of mine who likes Grogu.
Actually, I want the Grogu one where he's eating the frog.
Yes, that's the other one. I may end up getting.
You got like the back half of the frog sticking out.
I might end up getting several of these for various children in my family. Although having competing Bluetooth speakers about is might be problematic.
I was gonna say various children, as in the one sitting here at the microphone.
No comment. So those are our
that's fun.
Some of our stocking stuffer ideas. We would love to hear what you think of any of ideas, or if you have ideas of your own for great tech stocking stuffers, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at technology@sqpn.com. So before we move on to our headlines, we would like to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the secrets of technology, including Jeffrey S., Greg S., John W., and Kevin H. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the secrets of technology and all the shows at StarQuest. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. I want to take a moment before, to kind of expand on that a little bit. We are in Advent, and we are beginning our annual Advent giving campaign. StarQuest is a 501c3 nonprofit. Our mission is to spread the gospel by exploring the intersection of faith and culture, and through our podcasts and other shows. And we rely on the generosity of listeners like you to keep going. And we have been very blessed to receive the support that we have from listeners to let us do this. I mean, everyone who does these programs are volunteers. They're giving of their time, and they give a lot of time. But we do have expenses. I'm the only full-time employee. We also have a part-time administrative employee, and then all of our technological expenses and that sort of thing. And we are trying to grow and reach more people. We reach tens of thousands of people now, but we want to reach hundreds of thousands of people with this unique gospel message. And so we ask you to prayerfully consider becoming a donor, a patron of our shows at sqpn.com/give, and help us to reach more people. And as I said, to do more as we try to fulfill this mission that we have. So we appreciate that. All right, so we have our headlines, and our first headline this week is I didn't go back and check, but I feel like this was we've heard from this guy before. We might have talked about it before. Anthony Lewandowski is one of these tech guys who he's a tech entrepreneur. He has started an AI church called Way of the Future, which he founded in 2015, and he's rebooted it, if you will, to create a organization, a religious movement, as Bloomberg puts it, focused on the worship and understanding of artificial intelligence. And as he says, hey, we're actually creating things that can see everything, be everywhere, know everything, and maybe help us and guide us in a way that normally you would call God. And I just, as I'm reading this, and I'll get your reactions on this as well, but I'm like, you don't understand what we mean by God.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys react to it as well. I mean, what do you think of this movement?
Scam.
It's perhaps
and this is a guy who was involved in doing a lot of the self-driving car. I think he worked on some of the base technologies with Tesla and stuff like that. He got busted for a lot of really bad stuff, got thrown in jail and spent time in jail, and now he's back out. This sounds way too much like Scientology, which was a religion that was made up to make money.
Based on technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that sounds way too much like that. Because first of all, AI isn't everywhere. AI doesn't know everything. AI can't help us the way he says, at least not right now. So I'm color me skeptical. And like you said, Dom, he doesn't know what we mean by God. We don't mean some unknown clockmaker that's wound up the universe and walked away. We mean a being, someone that exists, different than us, but still exists.
That we can have a relationship with.
Right. You can't have a relationship with ChatGPT, unlike those apps that claim that you can have a virtual girlfriend. You really can't.
Right. Yeah. It's like his approach, it seems to me, I haven't heard him say this, but it seems to me he's fallen for that myth that God is something we've created for ourselves. Mm-hmm. to interface with the universe or something like that. And it just seems so misguided. How about you, Joanne? What do you think of this?
I'm shaking my head over here because I zoomed in on a piece of the article that says that this Lewandowski was at the center of a high-profile legal battle related to the theft of trade secrets, sentenced to 18 months in prison, and then pardoned by former President Trump. That tells me everything I need to know about this man and what he's trying to propose. Right. He is a scam artist. He's got to be. And yes, he doesn't understand that what we have not created God. God has created us.
Right.
And come and shown himself to us. So I don't understand this.
Well, it's
why we would want to do this.
It's the golden calf all over again, right?
It has to be the golden calf.
We're creating a God to worship that is, that makes no demands on us, has no, it gives us everything we want, right? I mean, this is what essentially when they were in the the Israelites were in the desert and Moses was gone for a while and
they got bored.
Yeah, and then we had where's your God now, Moses? Sorry,
in a very bad Edward G. Robinson voice.
Edward G. Robinson got Aaron to make a golden calf, and so it's a bad idea. I think it's like sort of the sort of cocktail party religion, you know what I mean, of the glitterati that entirely misses a point. And it's sad. I mean, just because the guy's gone to jail, it doesn't mean that I suppose he doesn't mean he can't have a change of heart and get a second chance. But you're right. Like there are patterns here. Yeah.
Well, and this is his second take at it. So,
right. So yeah, it brings out the skeptic in me. And not the faithful person in me at all when I read something like this.
It went away, and then we had the ChatGPT explosion last year, and it feels like, oh, the time's right now. Now I can really launch this thing. Yeah, hopefully people don't fall for that scam. Don't fall for that. Snake oil. So yes. Our next headline, it was kind of funny. If you live in Washington, D.C., you might be able to get a free AirTag for your car. This was an Engadget, but based on some stories in other publications as well. So the city of Washington, D.C. will distribute free AirTags, Apple AirTags, to residents in certain neighborhoods to make it easier for cops to track down stolen cars. Mm. It's kind of interesting to me because do you remember there was a product a number of years ago, LoJack, which was essentially the whole point of LoJack was you install a hidden tracking device in your car, and if your car gets stolen, you tell the police, they contact LoJack, and LoJack just kind of went away.
How much was LoJack as compared to an AirTag?
Right. Well, that's the big thing. In fact, actually, I guess LoJack's still around. It is. It's interesting. Yeah.
And part of it too is now you can get off-the-shelf GPS trackers that all you have to do is pay for the monthly cell charge.
Right.
You just put a SIM card in it, and you can add it to your device, your Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile account.
I mean, I could be a little snarky about it and say, will it be any easier to find the AirTag equipped car than it is to find my Kindle with an AirTag on it when it's like 3 feet away from me and the phone can't find it. So AirTags are not foolproof, that's for sure. But it's interesting.
I'm a little more snarky because I've been watching. I once in a while we'll watch some of these police videos, and someone will call, and I had an AirTag in my device, in my bag, in my car, or whatever. Oh, well, we know the AirTag's there, but we can't go in because that's not probable cause enough.
Right. Now, with a car, they're not going to get it. I mean, unless the car's in a garage or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's an interesting question. How much probable cause is there? I mean, if I say that my possession is inside there, can I get a cop to get me in there? That's an interesting. I don't know the legalities of it.
Or will the cop actually go in and investigate, or do they have to go through the whole process of warrants and all that?
My guess is if the cities are giving these away, they've figured out a process by which they can do something about it when it comes up.
LoJack. I was just looking up what the price of LoJack is. It's $10.75 a month, billed once a year. So that's a chunk of change. And you've got a $25 AirTag. What's going to be, and it's crowdsourced basically. So I see what they're thinking. I'm just not sure it's also an answer either.
The advantage that something like a LoJack or other GPS thing or GPS tracker would do is if you went to a place that maybe there aren't a lot of people around, more rural areas or more like industrial areas, where not to say thieves are smart, because we'll talk about that too in the next little article, but if they're smart enough to realize that something like this could be on the car, they'll just make sure that their iPhones don't go anywhere near the car, and guess what, the AirTag won't ping.
Right.
But a GPS tracker could, because you'd still be within cell range.
And that's the advantage of, say, a LoJack, which is it doesn't require the crowdsourced network. It doesn't require all that stuff, and it's usually installed. It has to be dealer installed, and it's installed in a place. Well, it runs off of the car battery, so that it doesn't. AirTag, you have to replace that battery every once in a while. B, that AirTag, if they have the thief has an iPhone, it will tell them it's there. Because remember, AirTags are required to tell you if you're traveling with an AirTag that isn't yours, and to protect you in case someone does this to you. But it also helps the thief. So that didn't come up in the story, but that's an issue. And so once they know that there's an AirTag in the vehicle that they're traveling with, they're either going to tear the car apart looking for it, or they're just going to bail. I mean, which would be, I suppose, ideal.
But
yeah, but yeah.
I guess one more thing I would be curious about is how well do AirTags work in the Faraday cages that are cars?
Right.
Cars are horrible Faraday cages.
Yeah. The best place for an AirTag would be either like on the dash or like on the back of the rearview mirror or something like that, where you get the glass that it's transparent, RF transparent. The problem with that is it's visible.
It's also light transparent.
Right. Yes. Well, the thief could just grab it and throw it out the window. Or in the summer that's going to get hot and melty. So this isn't an end all be all solution. And I know that Apple doesn't recommend this as a car theft preventative. It feels like some of these DC and New York, rather than fixing their auto theft problems, they're throwing a bone at it, and it's a cheap way of buying some goodwill from residents on this, at $29 a pop.
And then here's the pessimistic view of all of this. So you give these out to people who bring them home, whose little children then play with them and swallow them, and then you have a problem with that, and then they sue the city for it.
Right. Well,
my friends think like this. So
legal. I'm sure you have to sign waivers and all sorts of legal liability things about it.
Yep.
Well, speaking of car theft in Washington, D.C., there's a story out of D.C. reported by the ABC News, but we got the story from 9 to 5 Mac. This guy was a victim of armed robbery, which, it's just horrible. The two guys pointed guns at him, and they stole everything he had in his pockets, he said, including his car keys and his smartphone. But when the thieves realized that his phone was an Android and not an iPhone, they gave it back to him.
Sorry.
Sorry, Cory. I just had to include this because as you point out,
just because they don't want the superior phone. I mean, it was too good for them. They wanted the inferior iPhone.
Well, the thing is, it's stupid to begin with because there are plenty of Android phones that are worth a lot of money. A Pixel, a Samsung,
Samsung.
But thieves stealing any phone is dumb because 5 minutes after you've taken the phone from me, I'm on, the online bricking the phone, going to iCloud if it's an iPhone and deactivating it and putting a lock on it and tracking it, so thieves don't be stupid and steal phones. In fact, I was saying if I ever had the instance where someone wanted to, I would just tell them that, look, my phone is going to be a brick in 5 minutes after you leave anyway. So why don't you just leave me the phone because it's not going to do you any good.
And 10 minutes after you leave, I'll make sure that the cops have the location. GPS information.
Right. So you might as well just leave me my phone. I don't know how well that will work. We'll see. You better not, or I'll shoot you. Oh, okay, then I won't. We'll see. Those discerning DC car thieves, put it that way. They did get away with this car, which is not good.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's not good. So our next story is interesting. This is up on the BBC. Pope Francis encourages more children to code, especially in Catholic countries. So this is one of those cases where a third party has a good cause that they want to promote, and they ask a famous person to endorse it. And that's essentially what Pope Francis has done. He's not sitting there going, what things should we ask kids to do? Oh, you should code. It wasn't his initiative per se. But it's not that it's bad. So it's called the Code with the Pope Initiative from the Miron Moroniec, founder of I don't know if that, I'm sorry, Polish folks, but I don't know if that's right. But he founded an artificial intelligence company called Cosmos AI based in Poland. And what he wants to do is to encourage kids in places where there aren't a lot of programmers or enough programmers to learn to code. He has a free online learning platform for students ages 11 to 15 across Europe, Africa, and Latin America. And they can learn right now, they can learn the basics of Python, which is an excellent language to learn at that age. It's a pretty basic, widely used one. As he mentions, this is in response to there's a lack. We do not have enough programmers, especially outside of the U.S. and Japan and the big tech countries. So what do y'all think? Is this a boondoggle, or is a pretty good program?
Well, I'm looking at it from a couple of different angles. But one is, Catholics online, just in general, are very quiet. And I think the more we can encourage the younger generation to be online and use it for good and use it as an evangelization tool, that instead of as an afterthought, then I think anything will help further that cause, and this could probably do it too. I just wonder why Brazil is being left out of all this.
Probably because of Portuguese, because it's available in English, Spanish, and Italian and Polish.
The Portuguese they speak in Brazil ain't Portuguese. So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure it will spread, and as they get more languages online. But yeah, Brazil is one of the most Catholic countries in the world.
Exactly, and it's huge, and there's a lot of people who, just from my work, I work within a Portuguese community that has a lot of Brazilians. So, and to encourage them to find things online, like I have right now online, I happen to have a lot of our schedule for Christmas, a lot of, things going on in Advent, and they're like, well, we don't use phones. I said, well, do you use Facebook? Oh, yes, we use Facebook. Okay.
Yeah, you're online.
You're online. Trust me. But I think, again, getting this more into the Catholic psyche might, will reap benefits down the road. And coding, if you can produce, online sites that will be, hopefully used
or even just have like people who are raised with a Catholic moral framework and ethics working in the tech industry.
That's a big deal.
Right.
That would be, we've talked to several people like that in the past. We've talked about several people like that, but we need more of that in, like the fact that Mr. Moroniuk runs an AI company. I want people like that working on AI, frankly.
And that's a good point with stuff like AI bringing the moral aspect of it is important. And also point out that we have a blessed who is part of the reason why he was beatified was because of his work online, although it's a website, but still that's programming.
Yep.
Blessed Carlos Acutis.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
15 years old when he died, but he's fairly contemporary to some of these kids today.
Yes.
Within the last 20 years, and he created a website of Eucharistic miracles. Yeah, definitely. We actually we talked about him on a previous episode. So yeah, definitely. Yep. So I applaud this as a something to do. So Father Cory, you added a story to our list that you wanted to mention. So I'll let you introduce that one.
Yeah, this is the hot news in tech. So we're on the bleeding edge of tech news today with this one. No, so Sony is removing from the Sony PlayStation video streaming service is removing all Discovery Channel shows. But this isn't like Netflix removing them or, Babylon 5, which seems to bounce between streaming services every other week.
Yeah.
This is, you have purchased a license to these shows. You basically bought these shows.
Right.
And as of the end of the year, you will no longer have these shows. And of course, Sony is like, oh yeah, you will no longer be able to watch them. Thank you for your continued support. No, we will not give you your money back.
Right. That's the bottom line. You're not getting money back on that. Yeah.
You're not getting money back. You're not getting we will give you, 2 free months to Sony, whatever their play games on demand service is or anything like that. It's just, nope, you're out of luck. You could have bought a whole season of Mythbusters. Nope, gone.
Yep.
Good luck. Goodbye.
Because the terms of service tell you that you're not buying access. You're not buying the rights to the show. You're buying a license that can be expired at any point on behalf by the the rights holder, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that's exactly that long-term service you didn't read when you get it, and that's a big problem with the way we get content these days.
Yes.
Huge.
Yes.
Because I know people who own a lot of stuff, that they buy, and I've purposely not bought a lot that's just streaming. I like to buy the physical.
Right.
But this is wrong. However, it is in their terms of service that no one reads.
Right. It's part of the contracts that Sony signed with, in this case, it's Warner Brothers Discovery.
Yeah.
Or Discovery at the time, but now it's Warner Brothers Discovery. And we're done. And what it is they have Discovery Plus. And that's what they're bringing all these. If you want these shows, you have to go to Discovery Plus now.
Right.
If Warner Bros. Wanted to inculcate some goodwill, they might offer 6 months free to people who have purchased, losing their access to, and maybe then at that point, those people would then sign up for Discovery Plus. They'd give them something, but no, it's just, you're out of luck. Sorry.
But the problem here with Discovery Plus and Max is that a lot of Discovery Plus is on Max as well.
Oh, the Max service.
Oh, HBO Max.
Yes, on HBO. Yeah, I gotta qualify it because they don't call it HBO Max anymore, but we all know it as HBO Max.
Right.
They have put a good chunk of the Discovery Plus material because I just, being the cord cutter that I am, got 6 months during the Black Friday deals of HBO Max and let my Discovery go for right now. I don't know what they're doing with the Discovery Plus, whether it's going to stick around, whether it's going to totally merge into HBO Max. Because right now I can find most of the stuff from Discovery Plus on HBO Max, but not everything. So I don't know what they're playing with. Warner Brothers is playing a game right now that I don't even think they know what the end game is all about.
And this is why I'm moving to physical media again. I am giving up on, there's stuff I want to rent from Amazon. I'll go rent it. That's fine. But it was interesting. I mentioned Babylon 5 because as this is breaking, my copy of the complete Babylon 5 seasons Blu-ray was in UPS's hands on its way here, and it arrived yesterday. So I've got this big, thick stack of Blu-rays now with all of Babylon 5. So I don't care if it moves to HBO Max or Tubi or wherever it is. I just pull out my Blu-rays. And I think stuff like this is starting to have a resurgence where more and more people want the physical media, because they can't, because not just do we see this happening, you see things like Disney Plus pulled a bunch of their shows off, or will be pulling a bunch of their shows off because of tax loss.
Right.
You will not, this is stuff that was made for Disney Plus, but is not available on Disney Plus anymore, or won't be, and so other services are doing that as well. So there's no guarantee that, let's say in 5 years, we'll be able to watch, let's say, Prodigy, Star Trek Prodigy,
or
anything. That's moving to Netflix.
Yeah, right. There's a big difference, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, between an episodic television show, an episodic series, and something like Cash Cab. How many times can you watch Cash Cab? And if you know what Cash Cab is, or Overhaul,
it's a consumable, right?
Right. I think these are apples and oranges, sort of, or
but there's
oranges and clementines.
But
there's still some of these that I can see people wanting to watch.
If you're buying these, as opposed to getting a streaming service, you can just watch it, consume it, and go and move on. I think it shows that you wanted this, because to buy a series or a movie is a significant investment. I don't buy very many movies or things, and this, frankly, this makes me feel like I never really had a big problem with ripping DVDs or Blu-rays for my personal use and saving them. But frankly, I would have this sort of thing. If I paid for a whole series, if I paid for The Office 7 seasons, and then they just take it off of, in this case, if Apple, was removing stuff from iTunes, I would have no problem ethically going online and finding a version of it and put and save it, because I paid for that. Now, yes, technically, legally, I paid for a license, but I feel like that's a distinction without a difference. I paid for that with the understanding and the expectation to have access to that in perpetuity, and that really chaps me.
And there are some of these shows that I can see where, like Mythbusters, where just, you want something fun, ridiculous to watch. Put on Mythbusters. You pick any episode and you'll have a good time.
Right.
And you'll be able to relax.
Right. And that's the sort of thing why you would buy these seasons. And just, I don't know if I blame Sony. They may not have had any choice in the matter. It's probably Warner Brothers decided to do this.
Yeah, it's Warner Brothers.
Yeah. And it's just, and I know all of these big content companies are flailing at trying to make money online, streaming stuff. And we, the consumers, are just kind of getting screwed in the process, because we pay for things, we lose access to them, and I don't like the way these things work these days, and I actively work to provide for myself, frankly.
I think it's something that I read recently. It's going to get worse because everybody wants to be the new cable company. Right. So this does not sound good to a lot of us, even as cord cutters that have been trying to save money, because we're not going to be saving money in the long run. I can see it now. The way I had to juggle things on Black Friday in order to get deals, it's amazing.
Well, I can see some of these a la carte streaming services starting to go away. Some of the big names, Paramount Plus very likely could go away in the next 5-10 years.
Unless Apple
like this Disney Plus
merges with them. That's a new thing out.
Well, that's the thing is like, I think we might see some mergers, some coming under other umbrellas. Amazon, I could see snapping up some of these. Disney could, Apple could. So some of these bigger companies could come in and swoop in and say to Paramount or to HBO or to whatever, hey, we'll license all of your content, and but it still leaves us hanging here with this problem of when those licensing deals change, then we lose access unless you switch to another service.
And what scares me is that I buy a year in advance. So I have a year right now of Paramount Plus. If they merge with Apple, which I was going to divest myself of because of the price change right after For All Mankind is done, what's going to happen to me? You know, are they going to say, "Oh well, you paid, so sorry, you now have to pay again," which they didn't when they merged with when they put the whole Showtime catalog in, but it makes you nervous.
I think if the whole service gets sold and you've prepaid, I think they either owe you a refund or a prorated, something. I think legally they required to give you something.
I hope so.
I was going to say, I could see them doing, we will give you the remainder of your term on Apple TV or whatever.
Yeah.
Very easily. I mean, because that would be simple to do.
Yeah. The whole thing bears watching, and, folks, be cautious about buying streaming only things. That's what is the old saying? Buy things that appreciate and rent things that depreciate is the old saying, and now it's just buy things that you can hold. All right, so those are our headlines this week, and let's move on now to our picks of the week. And Father Cory, I'll let you go first. What is your pick this week?
Speaking of things you can hold, I've mentioned before that I'm on a errand, you might call it a crusade, to get rid of distractions. It's so easy to be distracted online. It's so easy to be distracted on your phone, on your TV and everything. And so one thing I wanted is an e-ink tablet, and a simple one, not one that's basically a smartphone with an e-ink display, but a basic writing tablet. Now, when I do my notes for Secrets of Doctor Who, Secret Star Trek, Secret of Stargate, I handwrite those. I don't do like my iPad. I don't do laptop. I handwrite my notes. And I've gone through numerous of the yellow legal pads with notes. And, Dom and Jimmy have seen them where I'm flipping my notepads and everything, my pages and everything. Well, I bought a Remarkable 2. It is an e-ink notepad. End. It does not do email. It does not do web browsing. It does not do alerts. It is a tablet. Now, it does a lot as a e-ink notepad. For example, it integrates with OneDrive, Dropbox, and Google Docs, so you can download and upload via PDF. So you can write something on the tablet. You write it out, and then you send that notebook as a PDF to your Dropbox or Google Docs, and then you can open it up there. If you've got something you wrote in Google Docs, you can download it as a PDF. I've actually started doing this with my homily. I used to use my iPad for my homilies off of Google Docs. Well, now what I do is I write it up, my homily, my outline on the computer, and then do the PDF down to the tablet. And I figured out 14-point font is perfect for reading for me when I'm standing at the pulpit. Of course, it's a notebook. You can sit there. You've got they call it a marker, but it's a digital stylus.
Yeah.
And I got the advanced one where it's got an eraser on the end. So if you've got one version where it's just the stylus. The other side has got the little contact on the bottom where it'll erase when you use it. But you write it like any piece of paper, and it does. They say it feels like a piece of paper. There's more friction than an iPad screen. iPad screens are very, very slick. This has got a little more friction than that, but it's not to the level of a piece of paper. But it's good. It feels good to write with. It's fairly light. It's small. All kinds of different pens and highlighters, and you can do calligraphy on it. You can do, paintbrush, I mean, you could use it like Microsoft Paint if you wanted, it's got all kinds of different. Now it is e-ink, so it's only black and white, grayscale, but you can do colors. So you can do different color highlights. So that when you export it, it exports in color. So you can do like the yellow highlighter or the pink highlighter or whatever. Because it's e-ink, the battery lasts a long time. Since the last charge, it's been about a week. I've been using it about every day. And right now mine's at 40% battery after a week of using it for an hour or two every day. So it's really nice. It can do templates where you can make it look like an old school lined notebook page with the header line and everything. So, it's just a fun little device, and it works really, really well. What I bought was about $500. That's the tablet, that's the advanced marker, the marker plus, or whatever they call it, and then a folio, which is just a folder that slides into. You can get other folios. You can even get a keyboard one, like an iPad or a Surface tablet.
Interesting. So it base starts like $279, and then you buy the marker, and you can buy the folio and that sort of thing from there. But so it's not it's a pretty good price for what you're getting. That's really interesting. Yeah, I like it. I like the idea of distraction-free environment, because I know this one podcaster, David Sparks, set up what he calls this distraction-free writing space, which he's got an old iPad that's no apps on it, notifications are off, and it's with a keyboard, and that's where he goes to write. Because everything wants our attention these days. I like the idea of something that doesn't have notifications.
Can you get Kindle books in this?
Yes and no. It does do ebooks. It does do EPUB, but you have to do the little Kindle strip the DRM. Okay. Not that we recommend that, because that's questionable legality, et cetera, et cetera. Strip the DRM off of it. But once you do that, and there are very easy ways to find it online how to do that.
Yeah.
If you have a Kindle device, it's very easy to do.
Yeah. DRM caliber.
Yep.
I again, like our previous discussion about the streaming video, if I bought a book, that's my book.
Yep. Right. Well, and it's like if you go, let's say Ignatius Press, all their ebooks are DRM free.
Yeah.
So you can download the EPUB version and put them on here.
Yep. Yeah. Anything that's
very
EPUB,
easily
you could do. Yep. Excellent. Very good. Good pick. Joanne, what is your pick this week?
Well, I'm staying with the cord cutting theme, and when we get back after Christmas, I will tell my big tale of woe. But this is not that. But this is, for my friends out of the country, probably the best thing they could have heard, and probably for a lot of other people as well. ExpressVPN is now coming to the Apple TV.
Ooh,
with
cool.
this iOS 17 or tvOS 17, VPNs are now, you're able to put the app in the Apple TV and set it up from there. My friend in Italy is got some kind of crazy, concoction so she can actually watch American TV. So she has ExpressVPN and she loves it. And I know we've talked about ExpressVPN here as being one of the better ones out there. So if you have it, or if you're thinking about using a VPN at any point, this may be the one to use. So setup, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I want to take a moment just to explain for those who don't know.
Okay.
So a VPN is called just to kind of close the loop. A virtual private network is what VPN is, and it's a way of masking your location, among other things, when you're accessing sites on the internet. And people, so a lot of streaming services are country locked. So if you are outside the UK, for example, you can't use the BBC iPlayer service to watch Doctor Who, for example. So you could use a VPN to have your location be the UK or the US or wherever you are, even if you're not there. And if I'm an American and I bought an American Disney Plus service, if I happen to go to Italy, I want to be able to watch my service that I'm paying for. I want that VPN. So this is a way of being able to get those services outside of the country locked location. So,
and we won't talk about MLB anyway in this country.
No,
yeah.
But anyway, my friend swears by the ExpressVPN, and I'm looking at it now as an alternative in my own life. But having this native to tvOS is a game changer, because I think prior to this, you have to do something with your router in order to get a VPN to work and work right. And that's what she's doing. So once I told her about this, she, sung a big hallelujah chorus. And I think it's going to, whoever does have these native apps are now going to start to get traction with Apple folks, because this is the best way to do it. So it just came out, I believe it comes out tomorrow, actually. I don't even think it's out yet. But it comes out on the 7th. It comes out on the 7th. This is the 7th, of course. And it says you can do 4K and HD, which she does, and right now with her regular one. And I think in the land of VPNs, even though I've loved my Tunnel Bears, they're basic bare bones. ExpressVPN is much more robust and good, according to her, very good for finance, which my husband would probably appreciate. So,
it works on everything, everywhere.
And it does work on everything now. So this is the last one that I think in the arsenal.
So, and if, you know, other uses for VPNs, like on your Mac or your PC, your Mac or your phone or whatever, is if you're out and about with, say, with a laptop and you want to access services either on your home network or just securely, this VPN is recommended.
Well, there's arguments for, like Joanne mentioned, where you can set up direct from your router, where your router automatically connects to the VPN. It keeps that connection. It's just privacy, security. You know, so many attacks can, if they know your IP address of your router at home, they can get in.
Right.
With the VPN, it's much harder to do. You can still do it, but it's much harder to do. So there's that aspect as well. But with this, obviously, this is for being able to watch media in other places, in other countries that you might not have access to.
Now, one caveat is some services are wise to this, using a VPN to get around. And so they identify the IP addresses of the servers that VPNs use and block those. A really good service like ExpressVPN will know how to get around that. So
they change up their servers so that it doesn't happen.
And if you're trying to watch anything with the BBC, you really have to download the London as area codes in order to give them that at the same time.
Right.
You know, that's my Downton Abbey Call the Midwife experience.
Yeah, that was me and Doctor Who, so I get it.
Yeah. So, but I think this is a game changer now, and Zoom is now available. I didn't put that down, but Zoom is now available on the Apple TV. So this and Zoom might be a good package.
Because the Apple TV now can do the webcam thing.
Yep. 3 years too late, but with that.
Nice to join the party, Apple. All right. So my pick this week is a piece of smart home tech. It's an air purifier, HomeKit enabled. Earlier this year, we had the big problem, especially in the northern part of the U.S., of the Canadian wildfires really sending down the pollution. I mean, at times it was really bad. And I went out and I bought a whole bunch of air purifiers for my house. I bought some dumb ones for the bedrooms of our house, just basic ones. But I said, I want to try this, HomeKit enabled one. And so I got the Air Versa HomeKit air purifier. Works over Thread, which is a new protocol that allows stuff to work without hubs and that sort of stuff. I don't want to get too much into the Thread thing. It's a really nice air purifier. It has a couple different modes, including automatic, where it ramps up as it senses more pollutants, and then you can control it from your phone, for example, in the home app. And there's also a steady mode where you can just stay low no matter how bad it gets if you don't want the noise. It's really pretty quiet in its regular usage. Really happy with that. And the one thing I found is the filters. It's got two filters. After a period of time, they start to get dusty or clogged or whatever, and it won't tell me that it needs to change the filters, or it just is there's a display on the top, and it will show you the particles. The density of the particles of the pollutants, and it goes from green to yellow to red when it's really working hard. Like say I'm cooking and burnt something, in the kitchen. So it won't tell me change the filter or clean the filter, but I will notice, like, while it's been in the yellow zone for 24 hours or whatever, I bet I need to just clean the filter. And so what I do is I take the filters out, paper towel, wipe off the dust, throw them back in, and we're back good again. And I haven't had to change the filters. I've had it for 6 months, and it's going pretty good. one of the nice things to do is I don't want to like spend the electricity to run it when I'm not in the office. So like at night I have it turn off automatically, using a HomeKit automation, and turn on in the morning as I come in. And so it's a really nice feature. It's $160, so not cheap. Although it is. I've looked at the testing, and it tests. Not all air purifiers work the same, and this one works pretty well. There is a 20% off coupon on Amazon right now, so you can get a pretty good deal. And the replacement filters are, let's see, $30 for the HEPA filters, and then there's there's different. If you have pets, you need to get the better one, or if you smoke, and those are $50 for the replacement filter. So it's not too bad for that. And those are my picks this week. Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. And that'll do it for our show this time. We would love to know what you think of anything we talked about today, any of our stocking stuffers, perhaps. You can let us know by commenting on the show at sqpn.com/technology, or the StarQuest Facebook page at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia, or send an email to technology@sqpn.com, or visit the StarQuest Discord community at sqpn.com/Discord. You'll find links from our discussion and our picks of the week on our show notes at starquest.fm/TEC237. Follow The Secrets of Tech in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, in your favorite podcast app, or on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/StarQuestMedia. We should make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications. Until next time, Father Cory Sticha, thank you for joining me and sharing The Secrets of Technology.
Thank you, Dom.
Joanne Mercier, thank you as well.
Thanks, Dom, and Merry Christmas, everyone.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinellli. Thank you for listening to The Secrets of Technology on StarQuest, and Merry Christmas.